My disc golf addiction started 3 years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting out, I'd been playing for only 2 or 3 rounds, and I was lining up my first birdie shot. I was about 25 feet out, and I remember I was so excited. All I could think of was, please hit this in the middle of the chains, and do not miss. So I went, I lined up, I put my hand down, and I threw my arm towards the basket, just like I've seen all the other players who are much better than me do. I remember it flew, it hit the air, and this was it. This was the time. I was going to get my birdie. But fate had a different channel for me, and I ended up missing so badly that I bogeyed on the way back. I'd never been so motivated and so just ready to learn something that I had to learn. I just needed to find out everything about this sport because I don't like not being good at something. So through my research I found that the sport's beginning are incredibly crazy. The way that it's progressed from where the game is now to where it was before has been incredible. And also just where it is now has just been fantastic. So I'm going to start with the beginning of the disc golf. So the first recorded time is they think is around 1926 in Victoria, BC. They called it tin lid golf with pie tins similar to this. They threw these around and they would throw them at just random targets around their school, and whoever hit it, you would hole out. So that was pretty the beginning. And then there was a company called Wham-O. Wham-O was the inventor of the Frisbee. Everybody's played Frisbee. They're relatively light. They had all theirs. They actually sponsored one of the first disc golf events ever in Rochester, New York, excuse me. They had the first structured disc golf league, and they would all use their Wham-O Frisbees, and they would get together on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and they would throw, and they would have an objective, just like a normal course, except there was just a ribbon tied around a tree, and they would throw these Frisbees. So now that we've talked about the general basics, I wanted to get into, how did this game get from, trees with ribbons around them to a very elaborate game. The first person is who's considered the father of disc golf, which is Ed Hendricks. He's actually known as Steady Ed Hendricks, and he's considered just widely beginning the game. He was a manager at Wham-O Discs, and he started there, and he really got enticed, and he really got hooked with the sport. And he continued to go, and eventually he decided that he didn't like the fact that Wham-O didn't really want to continue disc golf. They were uninterested. They just wanted to stick with their basic Frisbees and everything. So he decided to leave Wham-O, and he made his own company called DGA. DGA, or Disc Golf Association, is still a company today, and he's most accredited for, one, putting in the course in Pasadena, California, which is also known as Oak Grove Course, which is actually the first permanent course in the United States of America. The second greatest contribution that he made was actually the disc pull hole, this is a very small one. They're much larger than this, but this is the great representation. It is a target that he invented because he was tired of arguing with his friends of whether they hit the tree or not. So he made a surefire way that if a disc would hit into these chains area, they would fall in and then you would hole out. So that was enormous for the game, because they actually had a permanent course where people could go and play disc golf. The next person who really got the sport moving was a gentleman by the name of Dave Dunapace. Dave Dunapace was actually a competitor in the very, very early years of disc golf when he used the normal Frisbees. But like everyone else, he wanted more things. He didn't like the way Frisbees flew. He didn't like the fact that they didn't stand up to win. So he went out and he said, well, the game's not good enough, so I'm just going to make it better. So what he did was he got with one of his partners. He came in and he said, I want to do this. And his partner said, that's it, I'm sold. He sold, and they invested in this business before he had even looked at any of the designs that he came up with. The first disc ever manufactured in 1983, which had a beveled edge, was called the Eagle. The Eagle was groundbreaking. It blew away all the competition. The second one was the Arrow, and that one was a little more straighter, and that was for the puttings and everything. So these are actually the first 2 models that ever came out for disc golf. So that was really, really incredible. It changed the game forever. Now these same discs are actually being manufactured today. Lastly, I kind of wanted to touch base on the PDGA and just where it is now. The game has really progressed now. There's actually a national tour where you can go and compete. You can sign up for the PDGA and become a member. You get a number that are assigned to you for the rest of your life, and you can compete in events. There's AMs and there's pros, and you can continue to compete. There's actual accredited tours, and then there's majors. There's majors in Australia, There's majors in Nokia, Finland, and as well as in America. One other thing is just a quick facts on some of the top pros. Paul Macbeth, he's the 3-time reigning world champion as of right now. He plays for Innova Champion Disc, which is where Dave Dunpace is from. Paige Pierce, she is the reigning women's world champion. She plays for Prodigy Disc. She's incredible. They're both incredible disc golfers. I mean, we're talking when they first started, they can only throw 100 feet, and now they can throw over 600 feet easy in just park holes. The game has completely wrapped over. So I just wanted to end with, you can get on to various sites such as DG Course Review, that'll find there, and you'll be surprised of where the courses are, and then maybe even one right next to you. I just wanted to end on a quote from Dave Dunpace from Innova Champion Discs himself. He says, "The thing to like about disc golf is what I call the magic of disc golf. Is when I throw the perfect shot and I can feel the disc leaving my hand, and I know exactly where it's going, and it just lands perfectly under the basket. To me, that's the magic moment of disc golf."